If you could look at a weather app and see exactly what your life was going to look like tomorrow, would you even want to? We spend so much of our lives trying to figure out this perfect direction, the perfect career, perfect relationship, the perfect amount of money, and the perfect version of ourselves. But what if there is no perfect direction? What if life is less about knowing where you're going and more about learning what and how to navigate the direction the wind is taking you? Similarly to the Marcus Aurelius quote, if you don't know where you're going, then no wind is favorable. The wind in this case is something like things you can't control. Where you're born, your genetics, your health, other people's decisions, any economic circumstance, unexpected opportunities, loss, failure, even luck. And the sail being things that you can control, your decisions, your attitude, your habits, your relationships, what you learn, how you respond, and what you choose to pursue. You don't have to sail in a straight line. You can change direction. And people are constantly obsessed with this sort of belief in finding the answer, including myself. And while I may not necessarily have one specifically, I do know that it's something that I ask on a pretty regular basis, and it's common for a lot of people too. And that's, what should I do with my life? And maybe that's not the right question we should be asking ourselves. Maybe we should be asking ourselves what we're curious enough to try. Because life isn't always about doing the exact right thing. It's about discovering things through the experience that we have it in. Try something and you don't like it, you've learned something. Try something else and you love it, now you have information. And that's progress. And through that progress, we're building something through trial and error, and that's ourselves. Now, trial and error doesn't always mean that you're meeting failure, it means that you're making progress. And I've made progress on tons of things in my life, but I'm nowhere near perfect on this either. I've tried things like weed, nicotine, fitness, investing, work. It's trying to better myself in so many different ways. And my perspective on it is constantly changing, and even my opinion on all these topics too. But that doesn't mean that I'm anywhere near being perfect or correct on anything. And that's something that I'm okay with. Your life isn't going to be a test when you get one attempt. So don't be afraid to choose the right answer because there might not be one at all. And whenever we're living life like this, it doesn't seem like it's as stressful or as harsh on yourself as you have been or how I've been in the past. And it's always going to be different for everybody, too. You don't have to compare yourself to other people, especially your wind, when you have a different sail and a different day of weather. I mean, two people can make the same decisions, work equally as hard, and have similar goals, and even meet them, but the outcomes for those can still be completely different. Why? Because we aren't identical variables in an equation. There's always different circumstances, personalities, health, resources, relationships, opportunities, and timing. So don't compare your life to other people's because it's often like comparing two boats sailing in completely different weather. You can't measure the quality of your journey by someone else's destination. That's especially significant for times like right now. I mean, how easy is it to go look up on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or any social media platform and see someone in the happiest moment that they have posted, at least? It's almost a guarantee you're going to see it. You're not going to understand the bad things that they had to go through or the trial and error that they've had to face to get in that position. And that's exactly what social media has built off of a lot of people. They're only going to post the best parts of things. And that's kind of part of why I've been posting things like this. I mean, this is raw, down to earth of me explaining how I've experienced life and how I'm also making trial and error on my own account. And my life is going to be different from everybody else, just like as everyone else's lives are going to be different from mine. And we have to see that too. Not everything's going to be butterflies and roses, but we're not always going to be down in the dump either. And whenever it comes to life and understanding it, what I've learned is that you have to build an emotional centerpiece around these things of what actually matters. And It's not status, money, followers, possessions, or job titles. It's people. It's the people you meet along the way. It's the friends you built along the way. The relationships you held, the people that you help, the people who help you, the memories that you make, and the experiences that you have. And ultimately, whether you enjoyed being alive. And truly, that brings down the honesty hammer of what do you actually enjoy doing? If nobody could see what you were doing, what would you actually want to spend your time doing? No Instagram, no likes, no money, status, approval, just you. What would you do with your existence? Honestly, what I enjoy doing is exactly this: making videos, talking to myself, sounding like a lunatic, but I feel like I'm just basically talking to one of my boys. I mean, you guys have been nothing but support on here, and I truly appreciate you all the way down to the depths of the core of the earth. I truly didn't think that this was going to be something that is almost like a way of cope for me, but talking about how I feel and getting things off of my chest here are something entirely that I've always felt would be helpful for me. And I'm glad that I can do that now. And purpose isn't always going to be one big thing. And it might be a death of a thousand cuts, but in a positive way for people. Everyone has one predetermined purpose is not a true statement. Instead, maybe purpose is something you build rather than something that you find. I mean, at 18, you might want one thing. For me, I always wanted the super nice cars and all the girls to like me and think that I'm super popular. But at 25, you might think a completely different thing. I'm trying to build a smart investment portfolio and be happy with the relationship I'm in, as well as building my character in a positive way that I can appreciate when I look in a mirror. And at 40, it might be another thing. That's not inconsistency at all. That's simply being a human. And we all have to go through it. And what really sparked my mind on even talking about this subject was talking and hearing about things like the win conditions of, say, things like a game. And Monopoly, your win condition is to win the most amount of money and have the most amount of properties so that you just own everything. And whenever it comes to the wind condition, just like how that weather app analogy is, if you could tell what the future was going to be like you were just checking the weather, would you be happy with it? Or would it be something that you'd rather just stay inside with and hide from? It's truly just about what meaning is for your life. And to me, meaning in my life is about spending time with family and friends and loving the people around me and building those relationships brick by brick, stronger and stronger as much as I possibly can. Because you're not going to be here forever, and neither will they. And time seems to go a lot faster whenever you ignore those things. And another part of living life is experiencing the good and the bad and being driven towards activities of joy that you truly find joy in. I love playing these video games, even like old CODs. Although it might not be in the best position that it has been in, I still love going back in time and having that nostalgic feeling of playing these old Call of Duties and almost feeling like a kid again. And while I might not be in that position that I was of not having a care in the world, not having to pay rent, and waiting for the next COD trailer to drop in like early fall, I'm still in the position of being able to enjoy something that I once truly loved. And that's something that I love to share about and have on this channel too, because it's just like the nostalgic days of watching people like White Boy 7th Street, Xcode, all those people that basically big broed me up from growing up and watching YouTube back in the time of YouTube not even being so mainstream. And gamifying lifestyles into reality has kind of helped me. I've learned a lot from these games. It's almost like whenever you have a bad game, it doesn't make you always want to just rage quit and throw your controller and break it and never play again. Sure, it might make you a little upset. You might get a good grip on that controller and get a little ticked off. But I guarantee that next game that you play, you're probably going to lock in a little bit more and you might end up top fragging. Just like in life, how you could mess up a little bit and then end up focusing harder on it and being 100 times better the next time that you give it a solid attempt. That's exactly what it's all about. You're gonna mess up and you're also gonna win. But that's just part of life. It's a roller coaster. There's going to be ups and downs, and that's probably the best part of it. The downs make the ups so much better, and the ups guarantee the get downs. I mean, that's just how things are. And I've had to come to terms with this every single day, especially being a diabetic. My ups and downs are every second, and I'm constantly having to care for it every second that I'm alive. And that's something that I have to come to terms with all the time. But it still drives me to joy being able to have the better times, even though I've had bad times. And that's something that I enjoy talking about too. I try to be as open of a book about these things as I possibly can. And that's kind of hard, but it's also a learning experience for me. And I feel as though I'm getting better at it too. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of us really know what the wind condition on life is. Some days the wind is going to be behind you. Some days it's going to be directly into your face. Sometimes you're going to have absolutely no idea where you're going. Sometimes you're just going to have to change your direction. But maybe that's the point. Maybe life isn't about finding the perfect direction. Maybe it's not about learning how to navigate either. Finding people you love, finding things you enjoy, and learning from the mistakes you make. That's what's important. Experiencing as much of this strange existence that we have as you possibly can. Because eventually, the wind does stop. So while we're here, we might as well just learn how to sail. That's a big prospect inside of especially these videos for me. It's about learning taking control of my life and learning mastering of it. While I may not ever reach that point, it's always the driven goal. And if you can love the journey, the goal is just a positive, like, additive to it. It's almost like the cherry on top. The cherry on top of something doesn't make the entire cake good or the entire pie good. It's about what's inside of it and the journey that you made to get there. I'm sure that people like myself have had experiences of, I guess, taking it to the cooking analogy of making something like a pie. Yeah, the pie might be okay, but it might as well just be easier to just not make the pie and go buy it from like Walmart or something. But I guarantee if you made that pie with like your grandma or your aunt or even your mom and you laughed and had fun the entire time, it's going to be a million times better than what it could have been if you just bought it from the store. And that's what life is about to me. It's about that entire journey and the relationships that you built along the way and the memories that you can attain to and constantly think of because that's what life is about. Your brain is going to constantly battle what's happening now, the future, and the past. But if you can hold on to the things that have happened that build you into being a better person for the future and for now, that's going to be a way higher net income and outcome for whoever you are in the future. So while the core premise for most people's lives may sound the same, like going to college, getting a career, make money, buy a house, getting married, and having kids to retire, it's not always going to be the same journey. And it definitely isn't going to be the same destination. So you might as well live your life with meaning and purpose because it's the levels of fulfillment that you reach throughout your life that you're going to be able to grasp onto as you live it. Not the attainable things or the physical objects or the money or the lifestyle that you think you want. It's about what you already have and what you can truly build on as you're living. So the blueprint's always going to be different. The outcome's always going to be different. But making that argument of trial and error becomes more and more powerful as you realize that it's experience, it's your real life XP. So go ahead and level up in life and experience it how it is.